to tomguitar.co.uk right now to check out the free guide, Boost Your Picking Speed by 50%. It covers the 7 most common mistakes everybody makes when they're learning speed picking. If you're making any of these mistakes, then you can't get progress. So check out that guide and hopefully it can help you massively boost your picking speed. That's at tomguitar.co.uk. Now on with the free lesson. Right then, so the motivation equation. Now motivation is absolutely the #1 thing you need in order to be a great guitar player. Because if you're really motivated, then you can overcome all of these other obstacles that you might face. So let's say you haven't got very good technique, or you don't have a very good guitar teacher, or you don't know where to find good lessons. Well, if you're really motivated and you're really inspired and passionate about achieving what you want on guitar, then you'll find a way around those problems. You know, you'll find a way to improve your technique, you'll find a way to play faster, you'll find a way to get a great guitar teacher. Maybe you'll even move so you can be closer to somebody who can teach you guitar in the way that you want. But if you're not motivated, then any one of these factors will limit you and will stop you from becoming a great guitar player. So motivation is extremely important. And it's so powerful, in fact, that let's take the example of Django Reinhardt, right? He didn't even have all 4 fingers on his hand. He burnt them in a fire, and he could only use his index finger and his middle finger to play guitar. So because he was still motivated and he was still really excited to go and play guitar and become the best guitar player he could be, he could still play, and he could still play brilliantly, and he was still a virtuoso despite the fact that he had serious limitations. So that's why motivation is so important. Now the motivation equation is a nice easy way to break it down so you know how to motivate yourself on guitar so that you can become a better player. Okay, so it's really nice and simple. Essentially, in order to be motivated, you need to have an exciting goal, so something that you really want to achieve. There needs to be a reward at the end of it. You need to be certain that what you're doing will get you to that reward, and you need to make sure that that reward isn't too far in the future. So the bigger the reward is, the more motivated you'll be, and the more certain you are that you'll get it, the more motivated you are. And the closer you are to getting that reward, the more motivated you'll be. So you could look at it as a maths equation. Don't worry if you're not very mathsy. Basically, it's your motivation is equal to your certainty that you will get to whatever you want, the power of whatever you're getting, so how motivating that is, how exciting that reward is, divided by the time that it'll take you to get there. So if the time is shorter, then you're more motivated. If the reward is bigger, you're more motivated. If you're more certain that you'll get that reward, then you're more motivated. Okay, so it's really nice and simple. Now, let's do an example with this. So let's say I said to you, if you do 20 star jumps every day for the next year, then at the end of that year, I might give you £1,000. Okay, so let's say if you do 20 star jumps every single day, by the way, I'm not actually doing this, I'm not actually going to give you any money, but let's say, okay, you do 20 star jumps every day of the year, and at the end of it, there's a 50-50 chance that I'll give you £1,000. Now you might do that, you might not, depending on what kind of person you are. But let's say you get started, and then after a few weeks you just get fed up of doing the star jumps every day. You just cannot be bothered to do star jumps anymore. You're sick of them, okay? Then you're probably not going to carry on. You'll probably give up after a few weeks because you'll think, well, you know, I might not get the £1,000 anyway, and it's only £1,000 for a year's worth of effort. What's that going to do for me, you know? So you probably give up. But what if I said, at the end of the year, I'll definitely give you £1,000? Okay, now you're more motivated because you know the result is there. You know you're going to get the reward. So that certainty has gone up to 100%. So you know you're going to get the reward, which motivates you more. So now it's do 20 star jumps every day for a full year, and I'll definitely give you the £1,000. So now you're much more motivated, and you're probably going to stick to it for much longer. But you might still not get there if you encounter some kind of setback. Maybe you're really busy for a few days and you don't think you can fit the star jumps in. You probably won't do it. So just by introducing a certainty factor there, we've already increased the amount of motivation you've got to do that. But you're still not completely motivated because the reward is a year in the future. It's too far away. You've got to wait, what is there, 300 days left this year? It's quite a lot. So it's too far away in the future, and it's too difficult to visualize yourself having it. You're going to get bored, you're going to get frustrated that you've got to wait so long, and you're probably going to give up, right? So how can we reduce the time frame there? Because we've already got an exciting reward. I mean, who'd say no to £1,000, right? And we're already certain that we're going to get it. I've said, yeah, I'll definitely do it if you do this 20 star jumps every day for a year, or for what's left of this year, shall we say. So all you need to do now is say, well, can I condense that time frame? So how many star jumps are you doing? Well, let's say there's 300 days left in this year. That's 6,000 star jumps, right? What if you could do 1,000 star jumps every day for 6 days, and then at the end of that I'd give you £1,000? Does that suddenly sound more enticing? I certainly think it does. I'd do that if somebody was going to give me £1,000, you know, because 1,000 star jumps, well, it actually doesn't take that long. You can probably do it in about half an hour, right? So all that is just condensing the amount of time. So instead of just doing a little bit every day, you're saying, well, what if I could do loads every day, and then instead of it taking me a year to reach the goal, well, it's only taking me a week now, or even less than a week. So now you've drastically reduced the time that it will take you to reach the goal, which then makes you more motivated. Okay? So just by doing that example, you can see we went from 20 star jumps every day for a year, and you might get £1,000, which isn't motivating at all, to, okay, you do 1,000 star jumps every day for the next 6 days, and I'll definitely give you £1,000. Brilliant, wow. You know, I don't know anybody that would say no to that, unless obviously you haven't got the physical ability to do the star jumps. But if you can, then I'm sure that you'd do it. So this is the power of this motivation equation that we've got. So the next step is just applying that to the guitar, which is really simple, okay? Because we've got these 3 elements, right? So what do we need to do? Well, we need to have a really enticing reward, something that's really exciting for us to achieve, something that when you think about it makes you go, oh wow, I'd really want to do that. And then you need to have a method that you are really sure will get you there. So it's great to have a method that other people have followed. It's great to invest in training. So for instance, spend money paying a local teacher, for instance, to teach you, or buying some kind of online course or lesson system. Doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be one of mine. It could be whoever's. But the point is, it's something that makes sure that you are certain you can get to that goal using that system, okay? So once you've got that plan there and you're like, yeah, I know that if I follow this plan, I can definitely get the results because other people have followed the plan and they've got the results, right? So you've got that certainty then. And then the final step is just reducing the amount of time that it will take you to reach that goal. And there are 2 ways to do this. The first way is just make your practice more effective. So if you're using more effective practice methods and you're making sure that you're completely focused every time you practice, you're not getting distracted, you know, you're not texting your mates in between practice sessions and everything, you're 100% focused on the guitar, then you're going to get better results. So you could look up some really great practice methods, for instance. So instead of just kind of flitting around and doing 2 minutes on this thing and 2 minutes on that thing, you're really focused on your goal. So that will decrease the amount of time it takes because you're being more efficient. But the other way to do it is the way that we talked about in the star jumps example. So in this way, instead of reducing the time that it takes just by being more efficient, we're going to reduce the time it takes by compressing. So what I mean by compressing is instead of doing, say, 10 minutes a day for X number of days, we're going to do like an hour a day just for a week, or even 2 or 3 hours a day just for 3 or 4 days if you can, depending on what you're learning, you know. So you compress this time frame. Instead of doing a little bit each day, you say, well, can I do loads every day, but just for a few days? And then I can go back to just doing a little bit every day after that if I want. But if you do these kind of short-term focus plans, then you get incredible results in an incredibly short amount of time, okay? So that's a great way to reduce the time it takes. So then once you've decided on a really exciting goal that you'd like, and then you've got a method that you are certain will get you there because other people have followed the method and got that result, and you've compressed your practice time into a shorter time frame in terms of the number of days or weeks or months or whatever you're focusing on this thing for, then you're going to be really, really motivated. Okay, so that's how you use the motivation equation. But let's just go into a little bit more detail about how to set that really exciting goal. So what you need to do is look at, for instance, the people, the musicians that inspire you. So look at like recordings of your favourite players, for instance, you know, look up videos of them playing live and say, oh, well, what part of that do I really want to learn? So for me, when I was about 14, 15, I really wanted to play faster. And that was my big kind of real motivating factor. You know, I thought, oh man, I just want to play guitar fast. I loved the sound of it. I loved the way it looked. You know, it was my obsession. I really wanted to play fast on guitar. Obviously the music was the end goal there. The end goal was to play all these songs that my heroes were playing and to be able to write my own music in that style. But the speed, I thought, was like the main difficulty that I needed to overcome. So that was a really motivating goal there. That was like a real powerful factor. So that's great, and you need to find something like that for you. So it might be completely different depending on where you are in your guitar journey. So for me now, for instance, it's completely different to that. Obviously I still love playing guitar fast, it's fun, it's a great way to get a certain musical effects you can't really get from playing any other way. But the music is the end goal, and the way you get there will change depending on what part of your musical journey you're on. And that means that your real, powerful, motivating factor, your big goal, will change as well. So you need to look at your favourite players and decide, okay, well, what part of that is the most exciting thing? What's the most exciting, motivating guitar goal I can think of? And then set that goal, go for it. Don't give up on it. Don't lower the target because you don't think you can get there. Just stick to it, okay? And then the next step, find a method that you can use to get there. So look for local teachers. Now, what I'd recommend when you're looking for local teachers is go to a few different ones and tell them when you go to the lesson, I'm shopping around, I'm seeing what teacher suits me and what teaching style suits me best. And then you can get an idea of which one of the local teachers that are around you are best for you. You could also try like online systems, like there's quite a few different websites out there where you can sign up for like a monthly fee and you'll get regular guitar lessons every week, or maybe you get access to all the lessons on a certain site, or maybe you could enroll in some kind of online course teaching you a specific skill, like some of the ones that I do here at Tom Guitar. But whatever it is, the most important thing about the method is that you are certain that it will get you to that goal. You can say to yourself with complete confidence, yep, I know that if I follow this method, if I go to this teacher every week, I know he or she or whoever can teach me to do this thing that I find really exciting. And then you've got the first two parts of that strategy. Then you've got the first two parts of the motivation equation, because you've got an exciting goal and you've got a method that you are certain will get you there. And then the third thing, as we talked about, is just compress that into a shorter time frame to make it even more motivating. Okay? Now when you're compressing, it can be useful to do the maths. So if you are, say, doing 10 minutes a day at the moment, but you want to compress it so you can do loads more practice in a week, if you do like an hour a week instead, an hour a day, sorry, instead of 10 minutes a day, well, that means you're getting 6 times the amount of progress. So the progress you'd normally get in a month, in 6 months, the progress you'd normally get in 6 months, you're now getting in just 1 month. So you can get half a year of progress in a single month, in a single 4-week period. So once you've decided, wow, that's really exciting, now the next thing is you're probably thinking, oh yeah, but I don't know if I have an hour a day to practice, I'm already really busy. So what you need to do then is, work it out, do the maths, say, okay, well, could I wake up 15 minutes earlier every day just to spend 15 minutes playing guitar as soon as I get up? Could I set the alarm? Say normally you get up at 7:30, I could probably get up at 7:15, that wouldn't be difficult to do, and then you've got 15 minutes in the morning you can use to practice, right? So you do that, okay, well now I'm at 25 minutes, so, because I've got the 10 minutes I was doing anyway, plus this new 15 minutes, what can I do next? Well, what about going to bed 15 minutes later as well? Okay, well now you've got another 15 minutes you can play with. What about taking 15 minutes away from the time that you normally spend watching TV and spending that practicing? Okay, well now you're starting, you're only 5 minutes off getting to your 1 hour a day target. So just calculate how you can get there and work it out. You don't have to do all of these things. Sometimes I'll ask myself, well, if I had to do 6 hours of practice every day for the next week, how would I do it? And I figure out what I could take out, what I could remove just temporarily in order to get to that goal. So you don't have to make any big lifestyle changes here. You don't have to say, oh, well, I'm going to never play video games again so that I can play guitar better. You don't have to do that. You can say, okay, well, just for the next week, I'm going to stop playing Call of Duty or whatever you play. I can go back to it after, but just for the next week, I'm going to stop doing that, and then I can get like an extra hour of guitar practice time in every day, and then I can get loads of practice in a really short time frame and get brilliant results. Okay? But again, you don't have to follow through with all of these kind of mental experiments, like when I ask myself, could I do 6 hours every day? I have done it in the past, but often I don't. I ask myself that to figure out where I'm wasting time and where I could actually spend my time better by playing guitar with that time instead. So a really quick summary then, motivation is the most important factor that will define whether you get successful or not on guitar. It's more important than anything else. Now, I know I use absolutes a lot, but in this case it's really true. So the motivation equation is really simple. It's the bigger the reward you're going to get, and the more certain you're going to get that reward you are, the more motivated you are, and the less time it will take you to get to that reward, the more motivated you are. So as the reward goes up, and the certainty that you'll get there goes up, and the time it will take goes down, your motivation goes up as well. So the way to do this, in a guitar sense, is okay, well, I need a really exciting goal. So look at your favourite players and think, what really excites me about that? What, if I achieved it, would just make me super happy, you know, would make me really excited? And it's got to be something that really, you almost get giddy at the thought of achieving that thing because you're really excited about doing it. And then once you've got that really inspiring goal, then you need to bring in, okay, well, how can I make sure that I'm absolutely certain that I can get there? And you do that by getting somebody to show you and getting a method that you know other people have followed to reach that goal. So if your goal is to play fast, for instance, then what you need to do is find a local teacher or find somebody online or somewhere, like a logical step-by-step method that you can follow and that other people have followed with success to get fast. And then once you've got that method and you're following it, you'll be like, yeah, I'm absolutely certain if I follow these steps, I know I can do it. And that'll be really motivating. And then the last thing is time. So the less time it takes you to reach your goal, the more motivated you'll be. So we talked about how you can work this out and the examples that really show how effective this is and actually how easy it is. But there are two ways to reduce the time it'll take you to reach your goal. Number one is make your practice more effective. Make sure you're focusing. Look up effective practice methods for the particular skill you're using. You know, let's say you're learning vibrato and you want a really nice guitar vibrato. Well, instead of just repeating it a lot, can you find a specific practice method you can use to practice it? I've done some on the blog, for instance, at tomguitar.co.uk. So you find a specific practice method, and that will reduce the time it takes for you to learn that skill because it's making your practice more effective. And then the second way to reduce the time frame is to compress. So instead of doing 10 minutes every day for, say, 60 days for 2 months, well, can you do an hour every day for 10 days instead? And that's much more motivating because you're getting the result that you want much sooner, which is going to massively increase your guitar motivation. And it's also going to make you progress much quicker because you're getting the results in, say, 10 days instead of 60 days, right? So that's the motivation equation. You need a really big inspiring goal, you need a method that you're absolutely certain you can follow to get to that goal, and then you need to reduce the amount of time that it will take you to get to that goal by using really effective practice methods and by compressing your practice time into a shorter number of days or weeks or months. So I really hope this guitar lesson has been helpful for you. All of these videos that we're doing at the moment are more about the mindset and the general approach to guitar rather than the specifics, but that's because then you can apply them to anything. So regardless of what guitar player you are, and regardless of what level you're at and what level you want to get to, these principles all apply. Okay, so I really do hope this has helped you. If you've liked it, then don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff, you know the drill, and hopefully then we'll see you in the next lesson.